They say it's impolite to ask how much somebody spent on their personal property. Well, today we're gonna upset everybody's grandpa and talk about just how much money my old Jeep would cost to purchase and build in 2022. Also, I'm working on my new studio. Welcome to my new studio, and the paper backdrop here, it delivered bent. So that's why there is like this massive streak of wrinkles behind me, and I'm sorry about that. Let's start with the Jeep itself. This is a 2019 Jeep Wrangler JL Unlimited in the Rubicon trim with a 3.6 liter V6. I originally selected the Rubicon for the 410 gear ratio, which allowed me to run 35s without re-gearing, the Dana 44 axles, the 4:1 crawl ratio, full skid plates, the 8-speed transmission with hill descent control, the locking front and rear differentials, and increased ground clearance. It is firecracker red with the upgraded color matched top and fenders. But the fenders aren't the only upgrade that this Jeep has from the factory. It has the cold weather group with the heated leather bucket seats, a heated steering wheel, rubber floor liners, and the remote start and proximity keyless entry. The trailer tow group gives us the factory auxiliary switches, a class 2 receiver hitch with the 7 and 4-pin wiring. The LED lighting group has the LED reflector headlamps, LED taillights, and LED running accent lamps. Inside, I had Jeep add the premium auto group loaded with all the fun tech like the 4G LTE hotspot, the 8.4-inch display, built-in GPS, Alpine 9-speaker audio system, the auto-dimming rearview mirror, emergency assistance call, and Sirius XM capable radio. That is barely half of the list of stock options I had added to this. It also has the active safety group with the rear park sensors, blind spot monitors, adaptive cruise, which is one of my favorite things ever, advanced brake assist, and forward collision warning. I went with full steel everything, so I have the full steel front bumper, which I stubbied by removing the end caps, the steel rear bumper, and the steel rock rails. All said and done, building this identical Jeep today at the beginning of 2022 costs $62,000. And that's before all of those ridiculous dealer markups that I'm sure are happening everywhere in the world. After paying that much for a base platform, I promised myself and my wife that I would not do too much modification to it. A promise that was easily broken. It has the 2.5-inch Alpine RT2 short arm suspension from TerraFlex with a price tag of $4,100. The Falcon SP2 3.3 fast adjust piggyback shocks at $2,000. A set of 5 1552 Turbomac HDs at $300 a piece, or $1,500 total, all wrapped in 5 35 by 12.5 Falcon Wild Peak AT3Ws at $350 a pop, or $1,750 total. Inside the fender with the tires are the front and rear American Adventure Lab fender liners with the fender bolt-on kit, a total of $1,012. And in the rear, I have the Rockblocks XL mud flaps at $175. Carrying the spare tire and relocating the rear brake light is the TerraFlex Alpha HD spare tire mount at $315. With the foundation of the Jeep covered, let's start up front and then just kind of work backwards. I've added the newly released JL fog kit with the amber lenses from my friends at Heretic Studio, and that costs $360, and those just mount right into the factory bumper, and then a 20-inch amber light bar from Heretic Studio at $460. I get asked all the time what this silver thing is. It's an air chuck that isn't currently connected, but this silver tin can looking thing is a dust cover named the Sherman Cap from Rock Your 4x4, and it costs $45. As for winching equipment, I have the Warn Xeon 10S Platinum, a wireless winch with 10,000 pound rating and synthetic line. That is so far my favorite winch, and because I like it so much, it has a price tag to match at $2,600. And that doesn't include the mounting bracket required to add it to Jeep's factory bumper that costs another $320. As for my Fairlead, I have the Factor 55 Haas Fairlead, adding $110 to this running total with a little bit of jewelry for the hook. It's the Factor 55 Ultra Hook with a rope guard that comes in at $420. Moving back and popping the hood, I have the Genesis Off-Road Dual Battery System at $570 and 2 Group 25 batteries at $275 a pop, or $550 for those. Behind that, I have a custom fabricated bracket to help clean up and future-proof some of the wiring. This was made by CBI Off-Road and is really just a one-off for me. That cost about $100. Back at the A-pillars, I have the Z-Roads ditch light brackets, a budget option of $40, holding my Heretic Studio BA2s, which run $200 for the pair. I've also upgraded the wipers with scrub blades for $40 for the pair. On all 4 windows, I have EGR vent visors for $75. And then on the rear windows, adding additional exterior storage, I have the Trail Racks pack racks, and you can find these for $450 for the pair. On the passenger side pack racks, I keep a complete Deadman off-road kit for $400. And then on the driver's side, I have my Waterport day tank and rail mount for $210. Below that, and way out of sight, is one of the more unique modifications to my build, the Long Range America auxiliary fuel tank. This adds another 17 gallons of fuel to the Jeep, giving me a total capacity of around 38 gallons. And at 17 miles to the gallon, I now have a range of just under 650 miles, all for the additional price of $2,000. My AT Overland JL propane mount and bracket with a 5-pound propane tank is hanging off the rear driver's side, a total cost of $300 shipped. On top of the Jeep is one of my favorite items, my Go Fast Campers V2 platform rooftop tent at $3,750 before installation. This tent is one of the more expensive items, but boy, if it isn't one of my favorite additions. Inside of the tent, I laid some carpet tiles at $70 and then swapped out the default mattress for the Exped Mega Mat Duo XL at $300. On the tent ceiling is the vernacular top shelf at $165, and then I used the Shitco awning blocks for $105, and then the Shitco ladder mounts for a cool $100. The entire tent is mounted using the GP Factor Load Bar Foot Pack, a $200 addition that is attached to the Rhino Rack backbone for $500. I've also added a telescoping ladder for $125, as well as a pair of Rhino Rack Stowits for $100 to carry my $60 axe. On the driver's side of the tent, from front to back, I have a DMOS Delta shovel for $240, mounted to the DMOS Delta shovel mount for $230. At the rear of the driver's side, I have my Max Tracks for $300, mounting pins for $60, Axia Max Track spanners for $129, and then 2 GFC universal mounting brackets, holding it all together for $130. And the last thing hanging off the tent are my chase lights, which are BA2s from Heretic Studio, this time with amber lenses for $220. And these are attached using the GFC 90-degree mounts for $40 each, or $80 total. And that almost does it for exterior modifications. At the very rear of the Jeep is my Factor 55 hitch link for $85. Now the final exterior mod is related to my interior build, which is my ham radio antenna and antenna mount way up in the front on my driver's side for a combined price of $92. And that runs to my ham radio under my passenger seat. That is the Yaesu FTM 400XD for $650. Now I have the faceplate attached to a Carolina Metal Mounts Freedom panel mount for $42, and then the mic of my ham radio is attached to the mid cowl in the dash using a magnetic mic for $35. To manage all of these upgrades I've made and to make sure my Jeep's computer knows what's kind of relatively going on, I use the Superchips flash cowl, and that costs $225. And this doesn't really need to be mounted anywhere, so I just keep it in the glove box. But that doesn't mean that I don't have a mount for almost everything else under the sun. I use the 67 Designs JL track mount for $80, and then I have 3 arms at $25 a pop, or $75 total. I have the 67 Designs G2 phone mount holding my phone for $45, and a long 12-foot USB to Lightning cable for my phone to run Apple CarPlay. And I just found that on Amazon for $20. And I ran this cable behind the windshield and then the glove box and then into my center console. It's really the cleanest way that I could come up with to keep my phone connected to the Jeep at all times. Now, to keep all of you involved in my videos, I use 3 GoPro Hero 9s, and I'm not adding them in the total cost of the build because I didn't include them in the sale of the Jeep. But the mounts which are included are all over inside of the Jeep. I have 2 Carolina Metal Masters mounts on the A-pillar grab handles for $100 a pop, or $200 total. Then the third camera, which faces out the windshield, I use the center ball mount on the 67 Designs track that we just talked about. But I do have one more Carolina Metal Masters mount in the passenger grab handle. This is where I attach my iPad when I don't have a passenger, and it's kind of the perfect spot. And really, it only costs $40 to do it, so I did it. One of the most involved undertakings and the earliest modifications that I made to the Jeep was the Sound Assassin sound deadening. The installation required removing all of the interior and laying the sticky panels everywhere. Before installation costs, the sound deadening panels are $280. While we were sound deadening the tub of the Jeep, we also did the hardtop using the Hothead headliners, and before installation that costs $460. I've added the Blue Ridge Overland Gear attic in the rear passenger seat to help manage bedding, jackets, and other soft goods for an easy to digest $80. The cargo area of the Jeep gets a little interesting. I have a Goose Gear rear plate at $600, and then I even have a 60% seat delete with their seat delete bracket that I add when I need that extra storage at $700. My ARB twin compressor is below the rear Goose Gear plate at $575. The compressor fits in the cubby using the American Adventure Lab mount for $150, and then runs all of the intake and output hoses and all that stuff up the sidewall of the interior tub of the Jeep with the American Adventure Labs relocation mount for another $265. And then to get power to the whole system, I have the Expedition Essentials ARB Twin extension harness, and that goes from the dual battery way up in the front, and it costs me $120. I also added a Dometic hardwire kit on the American Adventure Labs relocation bracket, and this runs directly into the dual battery and gives me a constant 12 volts to use with my fridge, and it only costs $50, so why not? As for accessories that I have with me on every trip and that I sold with the Jeep, we have the following. The Indeflate dual hose at $170, and this works great with the ARB twin compressor. I actually have one for the Bronco now as well. It's just one of my favorite tools. The Dometic CFX 345 at $960 with the cover for $130. I also always carry my Goal Zero 1500X at $2,000 with the Goal Zero Nomad 200 solar panels at $600. The 1500X is something I absolutely love, and as I worked out the deal with the buyer of the Jeep, I actually decided to keep those. So those are staying with the Bronco, but all of that comes together and adds just a little bit to the price of the Jeep, so I included it in the video. Lastly, I included this large Zargis K470 40678 at $320, and its companion, the K470 40810 at $280. These are stackable and strap into the rear of the Jeep to keep all of that gear secure and organized. Whew, that is a lot of stuff, and in my very biased opinion, it was a really balanced build. The Jeep platform I felt like was a great jumping off point to ensure that I didn't have any lack of off-road ability, and all the fun goodies were just, I don't know, even more, and just added more capability and comfort. So brace yourself, because the total cost of my Jeep and all of the modifications without tax, shipping, installation, or insane dealer markups is $98,497. While all of that sounds outrageous, and you're right, it is, there are plenty of budget options for building a vehicle. This Jeep, however, it is just not a budget build. So if you drew some inspiration from my build, check out the description where every build detail has a link. It was a lot, and I have to say, wow, I cannot believe I am doing this. It truly is the end of an era. So that does it for me, and that does it for Cool Rick. If you liked the video, then please like the video. If you have a question, leave me a comment. And if you want to hang out again, well, make sure to subscribe. Until next time, I'm Justin B. McBride. So that is the end of the Cool Rick era. I am happy to say that Major Tom, my two-door Badlands Bronco with the Sasquatch package, will be my adventure mobile going forward. If you want a better introduction to the new build, check out this video right here. Thanks for watching.